guys, it's D to the B here, and today I'm going to be talking about Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. So I know this review is very, very late, but I've just been busy. But now I'm going to give my thoughts about the movie Frozen Empire. It was all right. I had a few issues with it, but regardless, I enjoyed it for what it was. It wasn't the worst thing I've seen, so that's good. So basically, the plot is it starts with a long time ago where there's this weird incident that these people just froze out of nowhere. I think they were having like a business call or some investor thing. They were rich, so it could have been either of them. And the fire department was just wondering how this could have happened. I think they noticed like a little box and then it happens to them. Then we transition to modern day where the Ghostbusters are doing their thing, trying to capture ghosts, but in the cost of that, they pretty much destroyed a lot of the buildings in the town, which end up getting the mayor closer to banning the Ghostbusters, and also puts Phoebe on the bench because she's too young to be a Ghostbuster. And it's been a couple years since the Afterlife movie. Now, yes, I know, I said I was going to review the previous Ghostbusters movies before this one came out, but I ended up not having time, so I'll probably do that later this year, so then I somewhat fulfill the promise, but I'm so sorry that it was late and didn't come on time. But anyway, Phoebe is mad about this. The parents have to explain this to her. That's one thing I didn't like about this movie is the parents, the mom and Ant-Man's character, I know he has a name. I just picture him as Ant-Man, but anyway, I found the family very annoying in this movie, especially the mom. The mom, I couldn't stand. Like, granted, I wasn't a huge fan of the mom in Afterlife. I was hoping after the events of Afterlife, she would become a bit more understanding instead of strict, because Phoebe's mom, the thing that she had in the first movie was she didn't really like her dad because she left her at a very young age, basically thinking that he didn't love her and abandoned the family that he made. But then the film introduces no, he actually did love his daughter, and he left to protect her and all the people from a prophecy that was set to come. And I felt like that realization would have changed that, but no, the mom's still annoying in this movie. Like, the idea of Phoebe not being a Ghostbuster because she's too young, that makes sense, because that would be child endangerment. And then also, I think it's like, child labor or something like that. They don't even pay her. I don't know, but Phoebe's upset about it. I guess reasonably so, but the circumstances do make sense. And then also, we get to see Ray and Podcast. They have this whole live stream show, which I guess makes sense, but to be honest, I didn't really like this part. It was just cringe hearing Ray just saying things like smash the like button. It was so bad. Like, it was really bad. After the podcast, with podcast, get it? This guy, of course, comes in, and who is he played by? The same guy who did that annoying Jedi impersonator in Kenobi. Why him? He freaking sucks. He wasn't funny once in that show. Not once. Apparently, he's also an Elementals actor. And now just seeing this movie, he's still not that funny. Like, my mom and brother liked him, but I didn't. I found him very annoying for most of the movie. But anyway, annoying guy gives this orb that's been passed down for generations, which we'll find more out about later. And as Ray is examining it, it does like a weird shockwave thing and affects the whole city for a bit. Like, I think it turns off the power or something, which causes one of the ghosts to escape. And then the Ghostbusters go in, and which of course Phoebe is not for because she wants to help out. And then she tries playing chess with her grandfather, but no response. That was a bit disappointing. Like, I get it, but even if you don't show the ghost itself, like, you could have at least done something with it. Because I felt like that was a good dynamic in Ghostbusters Afterlife. But granted, as the movie goes on, I somewhat understand. And she's just upset. At some point, she goes to this park, and we meet this new ghost who's some girl. And they basically discuss how the ghost girl became into being, and she was set on fire. And she mentions the detail about not fulfilling her purpose, like to make amends for the world, because of course she burnt in a fire. And then then Phoebe leaves. She goes back to the base. You know that the Ghostbusters, except Phoebe, go to investigate the orb because Ray called them. And they have no idea what it is. So they have to go figure it out. But then also we get to see this new ghost storage setup because the ghost storage thing and the base is getting full with all those ghosts. And they have like tanks, they have rooms for certain ghosts. We get new ghosts, like one for example is the Possessor, which basically possesses any inanimate object nearby, but they have these like setups that are attached to the glass so they can't escape. It was something pre-established in the first movie. I can't remember what it was exactly. And Ray, I think Podcast, and I forget who else, go to the library to find out what the orb is, and they find out that it's for this frozen guy, let it go, no, I'm joking, that was around, and he was a servant of some king or something like that, but then he felt betrayed at some point, so he decides to betray the king and freeze everybody until we learn about these guys called the Fire Keepers or something like that. I just forgot the name. And they were basically the early Ghostbusters before the actual Ghostbusters, which personally for me, I think it's an interesting concept to explore because there are a lot of mythologies where they have these different like guardians for stuff. So it's an interesting concept. So they have to find this person, which of course the person who is the guardian of sorts, because his grandmother was the guardian, was the annoying guy from earlier in the movie. The one played by the same annoying guy in the Kenobi show. Why? Why him of all people? Especially since he abandoned his legacy. So then, Ray and the others go. Apparently, the power went out at some point, and the possessor escaped and possessed a garbage bag, some other things, and also a lion at the end, causing property damage. Which then, the mayor decides the Ghostbusters are banned. All their equipment's stolen or taken away from the city. And, of course, the Ghostbusters need to stop this new threat, which is unleashed now. I forget how. Oh, yeah, wait. I remember. Phoebe decides to become a ghost at some point to join the Ghost Lady, which was secretly a bad guy. Because I honestly kind of saw this coming from a mile away. But apparently the frozen guy needs to escape with possessing a human or a human spirit or something like that. I can't remember. So she helps him escape. He escapes. He grabs his horns that were ripped off from his head. Oh, I forgot to mention that detail. And man, just looking at the design of this ghost makes me think, man, whoever did this, they should make a live action Darth Plagueis. Because this does look like Darth Plagueis if you actually read that novel. So then the ghosts, of course, escape because I forgot to mention the ghost. This thing has like a telekinetic connection to every ghost. Because there was a scene earlier when they were showing the new ghost container storage unit to the Ghostbusters. We see the marshmallow ghosts again, which that was something I was hoping they wouldn't do. I don't like that they were heavily relying on nostalgia, and they're tending to keep going with it. For me, I thought it somewhat worked for Afterlife, but I was hoping we wouldn't completely go to the Force Awakens direction where it's complete nostalgia. I was hoping that they would move on from this and make a threat that was more interesting, or don't use the marshmallow ghosts. I was hoping, but can't get that. So then the Ghostbusters have some backup ghost catching material, and we get everybody in, even the annoying guy. He trains how to use fire, which that's a thing. And they basically fight ghosts, and the guy's still training. Then when the bad guy comes to their secret hideout, he pretty much freezes everybody, including Phoebe. But Ghost Lady surprisingly changes and stops the bad guy by possessing some fire, so then the annoying guy can use his fire powers to stop the threat, and that's pretty much about it. Then he's defeated. The ghosts go back to where they were, yada yada yada. And then the Ghostbusters are about to get in trouble with the mayor, but then one of the Ghostbusters, I think it's Winston, and now looking on the internet, yes, it was Winston. Winston basically blackmails the mayor to have the Ghostbusters reopen because of all the destruction that was caused from the Ghostbusters not being in the city. Then also reinstating Phoebe as a Ghostbuster, and then that's pretty much the whole movie. Yay! Oh, and we get a end credit scene also of the Marshmallow Ghost stealing a truck, which I'll admit was somewhat funny. And that is Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Okay. So, I liked this movie, but I can see where people are coming from and not liking this movie. I didn't like it that much. That's the thing. Like, I like it, but I didn't like it at the same time. It was okay at best. I felt like this was a bit of a downgrade from Afterlife. Now, this is a similar situation with what happened with Ghostbusters 2. I'd say they're pretty much the same situation. Like, high predecessor to follow up with, but the sequel falls flat. Now, you could still build up from this, and I think there are some things that you need to make sure to do so then this movie doesn't flop. First, make a villain that's interesting. I think most people agreed that this villain kind of sucked in this movie. Like, I didn't really care for this villain whatsoever. Like, the only thing cool about him was deflecting the Ghostbusters blasts. That was like the only cool thing about him, and then he dies like a punk. Get rid of the fire guy. He's annoying. Nobody cares about the fire. Okay, maybe some people cared. My mom and brother liked him. I hated him. He just really pissed me off. Don't heavy too much on nostalgia because people are going to see it as, oh, they're just using nostalgia as a weapon, so then we'll actually go see their movies. Prove to them that you don't need nostalgia to make a good movie. And then also, I think at some point in the next movie, you should probably have some like final storyline that makes it the end of the Ghostbusters that we know and love, passing down the torch to these new guys, because let's be honest, as much as we love the OG Ghostbusters, trust me, that's why the 2016 reboot sucked, or at least part of it. But that's a movie I never finished and don't intend to finish ever again. But they're getting old. They're not going to be around forever. So I think the next movie should have be somewhat involved with the OG Ghostbusters and teaching them and basically teaching the new Ghostbusters the way of ghostbustering and working as a team, yada yada. And then this being their final adventure, because again, they're not going to be around forever. That was actually a plot point in the movie that I found interesting, but they just end up doing nothing with it. And I think the sequel could improve on that. Just beginning to fade out the Ghostbusters from the movies. I know there are going to be some fans that are upset, and that's fair, but they're getting older, and it's just a way to put a final conclusion, and who knows. Oh, and then also make the mom more likable. She's annoying. She was annoying this whole movie. Just, even if you have to make a stupid development story where the mother and daughter finally get along, just do something with that. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say on Frozen Empire. Not bad, but not great. What would I have to rate this movie? I would have to rate it like I'm gonna go with a 7. Like, again, not bad, but not good either. It's definitely not a high score in D to the B standards, but it's probably a little bit higher than it deserves. But for what it was, I somewhat enjoyed it, even though not really liking it at the same time. But anyway, how'd you feel about Ghostbusters Frozen Empire? Did you like it more than I did? Or were you mixed? Or did you just hate the movie in general? I know there are a few people who don't like the movie, and that's fair. But anyway, this is D to the B, signing off. Bye, everyone.